everybody, and welcome to the Woolly Wonka Fibers podcast. My name is Anne, and today is Wednesday, June 1st. This is a podcast about my knitting, spinning, hand dyeing business, knitwear design business, all kinds of crafty good things. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much for choosing to check me out. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. I appreciate the fact that you have decided to come back and spend a little more time with me. So today is going to be kind of a quick and dirty recording. We were away on family vacation reunion type travel this past weekend and didn't wind up getting back until yesterday, Tuesday, over the Memorial Day holiday weekend here in the States. So I normally podcast on Mondays. That didn't happen, but I wanted to catch you guys up with a few things. And then we'll return to my kind of normal format, scheduling, all that good stuff next Monday, which will be June 6th. And hopefully I'm not on travel doing things anymore. We had kind of a commando travel weekend. There were like no days that we didn't either get in the car or get on a plane. We were supposed to fly out last Thursday, and when we got to the airport, found out that our flight had been canceled because we were going from New Mexico, Albuquerque to Houston into DC, and because of the tornadoes and the horrific rains in Houston, our flight had already been canceled. And Albuquerque is a really pretty small airport for kind of a big, as big a city as we have here in New Mexico, which is not that big. And so as a result, they couldn't get us out at all. That plus the delays, they had tried to reroute us to Orlando. Delays were already happening there. If they had routed us there, we would have missed our connection. So we just said, you know what do you got in the morning? So even though we were supposed to fly into DC, they actually routed us to BWI, which is Southwest's hub. So we got a direct flight on Friday, but then instead of having like a 2-hour and 45-minute drive down to Richmond to see my folks, it was like 5.5. We blew into our hotel like 10 minutes before my folks were going to pick us up for dinner reservations, threw our luggage into the room, washed our face and hands, got back in their car. We had a great visit with them. That was wonderful. They are packing to move to Baltimore, so it will be a convenient thing to fly in there for me to go and see them. Once they get moved, their movers picked up their worldly possessions this week, and they're in limbo until they close on Friday at their new house. We then went on down to Williamsburg to spend the rest of the weekend with my husband's family. So we got up on Saturday, hung out with my parents for a little bit, had lunch with them, and then drove down to Williamsburg. And for those of you who don't know, I grew up on the East Coast, and I actually went to school at the College of William and Mary. So Williamsburg, it was not like a surprise visit for the first time for some, Southwesterner. Spent my entire college career there. So that was good. We got to see all of his family, several of whom we haven't seen in a while, and hang out with them and our nieces and nephews. And we did try to go out to tour Colonial Williamsburg on Saturday, I think it was. Must have been Saturday. I'm off like a gazillion days. Anyway, we went and it poured the entire time. We were out for 6 hours walking around in the rain, and even with rain, I was the only person who took a raincoat. Let's just say that. And I was soaked. It went through every single seam. It dripped down the inside, It was kind of a long day out in the rain. We don't get rain like that here in New Mexico. Monday, we drove back up to DC. My husband and I did a quick belated anniversary celebration. We went out for a nice dinner that night, and we walked around. We were going to try to go into the White House, but that was the day they had, I'm not sure if it was exactly a bomb scare, but somebody had tossed something over the gate. And so when we walked over to go down Pennsylvania Avenue and walk past the White House, they had the perimeter pushed several blocks back and lots of Secret Service and police and all of that. So we wound up doing a quick tour of the National Geographic Museum instead, which was a lot of fun. I highly recommend that if you have a chance to be in DC. And then we got on a plane, and we were on a plane all day yesterday with more delays coming back through Dallas because of weather. So kind of a long trip. Anyway, I'm home. Yay! And I wanted to catch you guys up on a few things. I'm not going to do my full podcast, but I did want to mention the fact that our joint knit along that Laura of At the Corner of Knit and Tea and I have been co-hosting for the last 2 months. That ended yesterday. And I closed the thread in my Woolly Wonka Fibers group today, the finished objects thread, and announced winners over there, but I want to announce those here too. So let's just get on with that. We had 3 prizes. The first prize was $30 worth of patterns, any of my designs from my pattern store on Ravelry. And we chose all the winners by random number generator. The winner of the patterns is Siberian Cat, who is Penny. So Penny, I've already earburned you over on Ravelry, but if you see this first, please send me a note. Let me know what patterns you would like out of my design list, and I will be happy to gift those to you. The second winner, who won a skein of Laura's gorgeous hand-spun yarn, she does beautiful work, is Wendy Whalen. And so Wendy, if you'll get in touch with Laura, or she'll grab you on Ravelry if you don't hear from her in the next day, she's got that skein of hand-spun to send out to you. So congratulations to both of you. And then the kind of grand prize winner, who was picked from somebody who used one of my designs to knit their shawl pattern for the knit along. And let me show you the prize since I have that in my hot little hands. The grand prize winner is going to receive this beautiful skein of Laura's handspun. Here is her, get it the right way, her Etsy card, her Etsy shop card. She has a shop called the Stash Buckler, where she sells her handspun yarns. This is Polworth wool in the colorway Sideways. It's 290 yards and 4.1 grams. Really pretty burgundy wine from Sideways, obviously. Some yellows and kind of some mid-range herby greens in there. Really nice. Laura also included a couple of fun tea samples for the winner. I have this one, and it is excellent. So we have these 2. And then the project bag, which I sewed for the winner. It is this great sheep yarn spinning inspired print on the outside. And then the inside is just a really simple little fleur-de-lis. Well, it's not actually, it's sort of a quadrifoil, I guess, for flower points. Nice and sturdy, good for a pair of socks, just so you guys can get an idea. Here is, just got the tag caught. So there's that full skein in there. So plenty of room to add your needles and your project in progress, all in there. And the winner of that is Lori NM. So Lori, I actually have your address. I will be shipping this out to you tomorrow as the grand prize winner. Thank you for picking one of my patterns to use. It came out beautifully. I love it. So hopefully you will have lots of time to wear that too. So thank you guys for participating in that. It was a lot of fun. I think Laura and I are going to do another collaborative knit/crochet project along either later this year or next year as well. Give folks the same chance to win things in both groups. If you haven't gone over to the Woolly Wonka Fibers group on Ravelry, please pop over there and take a look at the FO thread, because there are some gorgeous, gorgeous shawls in there. Some folks use some hand spun, lots of great patterns if you need inspiration to knit something, you're looking for a good summer project. So yeah, check that out. And again, thank you to everybody who participated in that. It was really fun for both Laura and me to see the shawls pop up in there, and I know it always feels good to have like a finished project, and the summer's a great time to wear shawls, so all good. Moving on. I'm not going to go into everything that I'm working on right now, because that would make this an insanely long thing. And like I said, today I wanted to kind of just hit the highlights. But I did want to mention the fact that Stash Dash kicked off on Friday. Now, the travel kind of put a little crimp in my getting kicked off thing because I had a whole bunch of projects that I had earmarked to finish up. They just had a little bit left. And I was going to finish those up, but you know, I wasn't going to take like 4 pairs of socks with me just so I could knit the toes on the airplane. That just, not so much. So if we have another family reunion, I think we need to do some better planning and not, you know, have it interfere with importing knitting deadlines. I'm just saying. If you're out there listening, family people, doubtful, but hey, sending it out there. So I do have a few things that I've finished up for this first kind of initial push for Stash Dash. Stash Dash, if you'll remember, runs from May 27th through August 21st. So even though it's kind of billed as this sprint, it's really a marathon. I mean, we've got almost 3 months to knit stuff, so, or spin or crochet or weave. So let me show you what I have gotten finished. The first thing is the project I'm wearing. This is a revamp of a pattern that I wrote. I changed up the increases a little bit. In the original pattern, they were very subtle and you did not see them as actual yarn overs, but I have rewritten. Sorry, y'all, I'm a little jet lagged, just, yeah. Re-entry. Anyway, I have rewritten the pattern, so now that the spine increases and the edge increases are done with yarn overs. So you can see that at the back. This is knit in my Nimue sock, which is 50% silk, 50% superwash merino. This particular size is the size medium, and I knit it from 1 skein of yarn, and by 1 skein I mean like all but 6 inches. So plan accordingly. You may want to pick up an extra skein if you decide you want to knit the middle size. The colorway is Miss Elizabeth Bennet, which I designed as part of a Jane Austen colorway collection. So this one is off the needles. It counted for our shawl along, although obviously I wasn't going to get prizes from that. But I did post about it, and it also went towards the Knitting Broomsticks Jane Austen along, which just finished up on yesterday, May 31st. Is that right? Yeah, end of May. So I'm really pleased with this, and now I have it as a new shop sample, and I'll be able to get some good photographs of it. I like the shape of this because let me see if I stand up. It sits really nicely here. You don't have to have it pinned to stay on because the ends are plenty long. And I've got it turned over here in the back. Can you guys see that? I'm really close to the camera, so probably a little skewed. Not helping. Sorry, guys. I'll have to sit further back next time I wear this so I can show it off a little better. Anyway, done. Love it. Beautifully blocked out. I love this yarn for that reason. It's a great layer for summer, just enough to kind of toss on for over your shoulders if you've got short sleeves on. I find I get cold in air conditioning if I don't have something right on the back of my neck. Perfect for it. So this checked off was my first Stash Dash project that I finished. You know, in transit. I knew we weren't going to be back in time, so I finished off the knitting while we were going, and then got it blocked. The joys of living in New Mexico with no humidity means stuff blocks in like 2 hours and then it's done. I also finished 2 pairs of socks. So let me show you those. The first of these is a gift pair. A friend of mine for her daughter who just graduated from high school and is going off to college. These are the Hermione's Everyday Socks. And I was mostly done with these. I just needed to finish the toe on the second one. I knit these on a US 2.25 or US 1 set of needles. I knit the pattern pretty much as written, except I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel as opposed to the heel flap. And I have to tell you guys that the Fish Lips Kiss Heel is now, I think, my favorite go-to. It's super easy to figure out how many stitches you need for the center stitches and how to work the decreases, increases, increases then decreases. It's much easier to have in your head than the permutations of a heel flap. So for travel, my go-to heel. Toe is done as written. The colorway and the yarn for this is Spun Right Round. That's the shop name. It's her 80/20 sock, and the colorway is Dirty Denim. So these are finished, and I think I said it's the Hermione's Everyday Sock. So you can see they have a really nice little texture to them. Nothing, you know, super hard, but it's just a little different than plain vanilla. One by one rib up here at the top. So these are finished. They also went towards Stash Dash, and they will go towards Jilly at the Knitting Broomsticks Sock Club 2016 knit along. They will not go for the box O socks that Kristen at Yarngasm is hosting, unfortunately, because they are going to be gifted away. But they did also count towards Stash Dash, so there's project 2. Now, I wasn't super far along on these, but as I found, you know, when you're trying to talk to 17 different people, and I do mean 17 different people, it's really, patterning is not a good choice. So I finished up my very plain vanilla hand-spun socks that I had started, I think it was last week before we left. And I wasn't very far. I think I had knit the cuff and just a little bit of the legs. So here these are. And I personally think these turned out so, so great. They don't quite match, but they match enough that they make me totally happy. The yarn was a hand-spun Targhee from Susan's Spinning Bunny, and that was in the Blueberry Patch colorway. And it's all kinds of, obviously, blues, purples. There's a wee little bit of green in there. It's blown out a little bit, but you can see that right here. So these I knit even though they're kind of, I was going to use my plain vanilla sock pattern that I have in my head. The original hand spun was 435 yards and 100 grams. But I think, as I mentioned last time, I find that hand spun is denser, and so I normally always just go up a needle size. So I did that. These are knit on US size 2 needles as opposed to 1s or even 1.5s. I also decreased the circumference from 64 to 60 stitches because they were going to be too big otherwise. So I did a 2x2 ribbing here at the top, knit the leg, Fish Lips Kiss Heel, knit the foot, and did my usual wide toe, which I like how that does the tip. I think it gives a nice rounded shape to that. So originally I was planning on keeping these for myself because I love the colors. They're totally me, and the hand spun worked up beautifully. It's really bouncy. It's lovely and soft, but I put a fairly high twist in it, so I think it will wear pretty well. But my uncle at our family reunion snuck out onto the porch while I was drinking my wine and knitting my sock, and he said, "Will you sell me those?" Okay. And at first I said no, and I'm not really going to sell them to him. I'm basically going to charge him what the hand spun would cost because, you know, the number of hours into a pair of hand spun socks, it's like his entire retirement IRA would have to come to me to pay for these. So anyway, he didn't want me to just give them to him as a gift for his wife. He wanted to pay for them, which I understand. I get it. He didn't want to be beholden or make me feel like he was trying to take advantage of things. But at any rate, he really loved these for his wife, and they are her colors. So, so these are also going to get gifted away. Out of the 100 grams of the hand spun of these, I have 37 grams left. And so I'm thinking I may try to use that for another pair of socks. I have a fingering weight hand spun that might work if I stripe it. And I was thinking if I did the heels, the cuffs, and the toes out of the yarn I have more yardage of, and then stripe the rest with maybe wider stripes of this color and then narrower stripes. The other color I've got is kind of a spring green. And so I thought that might work. You know, it would coordinate with these pretty well. Extra stripey goodness. So I'm not going to rush into doing that. I'm going to mull that over, but I may do that so I have a chance to kind of keep some of this for myself since I love them so much. So those are done. Again, counting for Stash Dash, counting for Jilly's the Knitting Broomsticks Sock Club 2016, but not for the Box O Socks since they're getting gifted as well. But that's okay. That's good. You know, I can't keep every pair of socks I knit. So let's see. I'm looking at my list here. Oh, one more thing. So I had started plying the handspun I was working on. That was the May Woolly Wonka Fibers handspun or Fiber Club fiber. And so last night I got these completely finished up and totally plied. So I have that to show you today too. That also will go towards my Stash Dash numbers. So here's the final skein. You might remember this was 80% merino and 20% silk in the original roving. I spun it as a fingering weight 2-ply. It wound up actually coming out just about where I was hitting for. It's super squishy, and I love the colors in it. They're really soft blues, blue grays, a little bit of gold, kind of a neutral khaki, if you will. It came out great. It has gorgeous drape. I loves it. So I had 518 yards out of 4 ounces, which is a ton, really. My tentative plan for this is to do another knit along. I think I have mentioned Jilly at the Knitting Broomstick does a knit along every month that's kind of fandom based. So we had Harry Potter 2 months ago. We just finished the Jane Austen along. June is going to be Doctor Who, and I'm going to spin. Sorry, you guys, my text keeps going off. I'm going to spin a Doctor Who themed braid of fiber for that, and I may actually do more than one of the Doctor Who braids. They're from the Ocean Winds Fiber Club, and the last 3 colorways were Doctor Who themed. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not planning to knit anything for that. I'm planning to just spin for that. And then back to this. My plan for this is that one of the fandom knit alongs that she's doing, and I want to say August, maybe. I think Vikings is July, I think Sherlock Holmes is July and Vikings is August. I'll post a link to all of her fandom knit alongs. If you guys are interested, you can follow those in the show notes. So there's a pattern by Larissa Brown, who wrote this great book about Vikings called Beautiful Wreck. It came out, I think it was a year ago. Didn't think it was my thing. My friend Toby was like, you need to read this book. Read it, loved it. We'll probably reread it as a tie-in to the Vikings along. So she has a pattern out called Lichen that's based on some research she did for her book, for things that the Vikings would have used in the time period that the book is set. And I think this colorway would be beautiful. The pattern's mostly stockinette. It's a long kind of curly edged shawlette. I have oodles and oodles of yardage for it. So I'm thinking I may use that to tie in and make that project for the Viking along. It seems like it would be the perfect muted colorway for it. We're gonna see. Anyway, I will link to that pattern as well as the book in the show notes so you guys have that. So with all of the stuff I finished up, I am now at just under 1,400 yards, nope, 1,400 meters for these first couple of days of Stash Dash. I I've got a bunch of things on the needles, which I'm not going to show you today. I'm going to save that for Monday when we do kind of a more comprehensive podcast. But I've got DK weight pullover for the fall collection. I need to finish a sleeve. That'll be done then. I've got the shawl that I'm working on for the fall collection, and that's at least a third done and pushing towards a half. So I'll have those two, and those are my primary projects to work on this week. And then I have my espresso macchiato socks for the Coffee with CC knit along. I just have a heel to knit. That's it. And then those are done. And I'm working on the shawl that I showed you last week that I had just started called Whirlwind Romance. And I will link to all the patterns that I've talked about in the show notes so you guys can, you know, see more detail if you're so interested. I also cast on another pair of socks for the Coffee with CC along. And those are my, I think it's the caramel latte socks. I'll link to the pattern. But believe it or not, you guys, I have one sock totally done and I have the second sock already on the needles because that's how much time I had in various delayed layovers. I am not joking. So I have all of those on the needles, and then like I talked about, I'm going to be adding my Doctor Who spin into the mix. So I've got all those to do. My husband, poor guy, he is so sick of traveling. He was away on travel. He came in last Wednesday into the airport late enough that he did not make the 2-hour drive to our house. So I drove down Thursday morning to meet him. Our flight got canceled, and we had to be at the airport at 3:45 in the morning on Friday morning to catch our flight out to the East Coast. And he was like, I don't want to drive 2 hours home, knowing we're going to need to drive 2 hours back here to stay in a hotel because we're not going to get up at midnight to drive down here in order to be at the airport. We're just not doing that, which was fine with me. But anyway, so we stayed an extra night in a hotel. Then we flew out. We did the whole weekend thing. We got home yesterday. He's here today. He leaves again tomorrow, and he's gone through the weekend. So the point of this is I may cast on a few other things this weekend. I have cast-on-itis. We'll see how far I get. Like I said, my main focus is those 2 fall design projects. But I have a couple of things that are, you know, quick and easy, and I might just toss on the needles and see where I get with them. Because I'm planning on having kind of a regroup, recharge, you know, not cook, hang out with the dogs kind of weekend here. So anyway, I will, oh, the last thing I did want to mention before I forget this, that's why I take notes. Tour de Fleece, which will not be kicking off until July, the first weekend in July, I believe it is. I do have a group going in my Ravelry group, very casual. Please join if you're a spinner and would like to spin along with us. There will be prizes. And I'm also going to be updating the shop weekly between now and the end of the tour. So from now, today, June 1st, through the end of July, all of the in-stock fiber in my shop at woollyWonkaFiber.com is 15% off with the coupon code TDF2016. So if you need to stock up, you want to grab a braid or 2 or 18 or whatever of fiber, there will be fresh fiber going in there every week. So check back, see if there's something that you like, and then be sure to use that coupon code so you get a little bit of savings off of that, and you can save yourself some money to buy an extra set of bobbins or replace your drive band or whatever you've got going. So that coupon, again, good from today, June 1st, through the end of July. Any in-stock fiber, and if there's something that you have in mind that you would like, there's a specific colorway you've seen but don't see it in the shop, shoot me a quick message. You can reach me through my website. There's a contact me button at www.woollyWonkaFiber.com, and you can find me at the Woolly Wonka Fibers group on Ravelry, where you can always ear burn me. My personal contact there is Bunny Spinner. And then you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook under Woolly Wonka Fibers, and you can always message me at either of those places as well. So that's it for today. Like I said, kind of a quick, fast catch-up sort of thing, because I wanted to make sure we got prize information out for the hand spun knit along. Thank you guys, as always, for choosing to tune in and spend a little bit of time with me. I hope the rest of your week is filled with wonderful weather and great crafting and good times. I will talk with you all on Monday. We'll do a kind of regular podcast then, so I hope I will see you back for that one. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.